Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. Time for our Ask the Expert segments with K3C Credit Counseling. You can send us in your questions, 789-6559, extension 2803, to talk to us live on the air. Joe Grise is here to take your questions, or you can email us, ottawa.morning@ctv.ca, or leave a message to us via our Facebook page. Joel, always a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm learning so much about your business and the steps that people are taking, but there was an interesting press release that was actually released about 2 weeks ago from the federal government that you wanted to touch on to start things off.
Absolutely, because they're warning against debt settlement companies. They have come in droves. If you listen to the radio, they're saying, you know, if you owe more than $10,000 in debt, we can do this and we can do that. And it sounds very government. When you're listening to it, it almost sounds as if the government is putting it out because they're called debtcanada.com or whatever it is. I don't know what their names are exactly, but these places, the press release is saying that if it's too good to be true,
it likely is too good to be true.
Run.
So the government must be seeing that this has become an issue, that it was enough for them to issue a press release about it.
It's becoming very problematic, not only to the government, because you want to make sure that people that are in financial trouble seek the proper help, and that at the end of it all, they're not in worse shape. You want to make sure that whatever you decide to do to rectify your situation, that at the end of the term, that you will have met those, that you'll actually be debt-free, that all of those promises are going to be reality. And if you're not, and if you're getting into these types of companies that are promising things that don't seem to be true, you want to be careful.
I can't imagine someone finally getting to that point where they say, okay, this is something I need to deal with. They invest in doing something like this, and then at the end of all of it realize that they've done it wrong or with the wrong type of people.
That's right, and creditors didn't get any money and all of that, and then they're kind of stuck where they started. And you want to make sure you're getting the right information from the right people.
And which brings us to you guys, and I think the aspect of the nonprofit aspect to it too is able to drive people to understanding that this is not about you profiting from other people's misfortune.
Right. It's about getting unbiased advice and counseling, and to understand what all of your options are. And if you're doing cold calls in somebody's house to try and get them to call you to me, that's a little aggressive. And if you're going to be that aggressive, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right? It's one of those things. But if you can get the right advice, you know how much things cost, you know how much it's going to affect your credit, you know what the end result will be, then you can make a better decision on what you want to do. And it's not just a one-sided discussion.
The best way to be able to do that, and this is heading into our second topic, is of course the assessments.
Right.
And this is something you wanted to focus on as well, is really for people to have the understanding of what it is that they're looking for when they do an assessment.
Well, we have a website, it's K3C.org, and we have a number of programs within our organization, and one of those programs is credit counseling. And so in the middle of the website, you press credit counseling, and it'll get to our online assessment. And once you click on that, you can start inputting your information. It's kind of nice. It's a nice way to reach out to people that can seek out your services and complete some of the information from the comfort of their own home on a Sunday morning with their coffee,
Because you do want to be in your own home, because sometimes you don't even realize what your assets are and what your assets aren't.
Well, there's always that.
This is part of the assessment, is really taking the time to understand what it is that you have of value.
And my biggest advice, if you're going to do this assessment, is get prepared prior to starting, because you get timed out.
Oh, good to know.
So if you're going in and you're saying, oh geez, I don't know how much I have in that investment, and you go into your filing cabinet and dig it out, and then by the time you're back, it's timed you out and you have to go back in and start over again and input all of your stuff. So make sure you have your income, your household income, your household expenses, including entertainment and haircuts. Don't leave those things out, and your debt as well, who you owe money to and how much, and assets, any assets you might have. You want to have a good idea of what you owe on them and how much things are worth.
Is there any part in, if someone really doesn't know the answers, because people get into this trouble because they don't really know what it is that they're spending, that you would say take a month, because they have to really think about it and package it before they get online to do the assessment, almost take a month and gather all the receipts, or gather what it is that you think you might be spending within that month.
If you're contemplating doing the assessment, don't take the month first. do the assessment, do the best you can with what you feel it is, so that we can at least get the ball going. Yes, you raise a really good point. If you start writing down where you spend your money for a whole month, you get a really good idea of where your cash disappeared to, or, because your coffees and your entertainment and meals out and all these things, they tend to make our money disappear very quickly. So by writing it down every time you spend something, you get a really good idea at the end of the month how much you spent, and more important, you can look back and say, oh geez, could I have changed a little bit here and a little bit there to have a better bottom line at the end of the month.
Then you get into that envelope system that I remember us talking about last time.
There's that.
All right, we're going to take a short commercial break. Please get us in your questions. You can email us in over the next couple of segments. Give us the call live on the air, 789-6559, extension 2803. You can always send us in a question via email, ottawa.morning@ctv.ca, or head to our Facebook page, CTV Ottawa Morning Live. We're going to take a short commercial break.